following podcast was recorded before WizKids admitted that they had problems with certain figures within the meta. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh gosh. Lead in 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. It's been an interesting last few days. Unfortunately, I didn't get my blog up for the weekend, and I apologize for that. This past weekend. Still working on it, still trying to get better. Having some problems. Anyway, it's still hot as fire here in Kansas City in September, and I sort of jokingly look at September trying to pretend to be like it's August. But oh well. Today, I'm going to sort of tackle something, and part of it is thanks to YouTube, and I end up having a little minor back and forth, and this isn't like to call the cat out or anything. New subscriber, and I'm sorry if I'm about to butcher your name, man. Gingsington Snizer. I hope I didn't butcher your name, man. No offense. But he was sort of like, Spiral isn't that broke. There's more things that are broke in the meta. And so this isn't going to be a whine fest. Okay? This isn't going to be like, man, I hate Spiral. It sucks. It's got to die. We sort of let those feelings out before. What I've decided to do is actually look at making some Spiral teams for you all. And what does that mean for me to make these Spiral teams? Okay, and also I'm going to add in Shatterstar, because Shatterstar, when I looked at it, Shatterstar created stronger combos, a lot more all-in-ish than Spiral, which I thought was sort of strange. Really strange. Okay, so let's sort of get into it. So open up your heroclix notebook, and I want you to go look at some of your own little designs that you've had with Spiral. I want you to look at your little fantasy teams, and note, I'm looking at this at the scale of 300. Now, once you go into 400 and 500, yes, the shenanigans increase. Spiral completely outpaces Shatterstar once you give her another 100 points. But at 300 points, Shatterstar pretty much kicks Spiral in the butt. And I'm about to, I know in me saying this, sort of contradicts everything that I thought before. But I decided to do the diggins in the maths. Okay? And we're going to go and sort of see how I'm using Shatterstar. All right. First off, we're going to look at Shatterstar, and for reviewment purposes, we're going to look at Spiral, and we're going to actually read off their powers and sort of say, like, this is actually what they do. Okay? So this isn't me trying to be patronizing or anything like that, but really us just looking at it closely. Okay? Shatterstar is 73 points, and if I can find him on the unit section, there we go, Shatterstar. He's 73 points. He started off with charge, and he has a special power. It says Shatterstar can use Blaze Claws, Fangs, and Flurry. He has a base 2 damage for flat throughout his whole dial. So starting off having that charge and Flurry and Blades, it's pretty awesome. He has X Portal. Once per game, give Shatterstar power action. Play Shatterstar in an adjacent friendly character of a lower point value in any adjacent square on the map. Full map range. No place for you to hide. He starts off with 2 clicks of 11, then 3 clicks of 10, last click of a 9 on attack. He gets 2 clicks of charge, 3 clicks of he has 3 clicks of charge, 2 clicks up front, then 3 clicks of sidestep, and 1 click of charge. At the end, full dial combat reflexes. In the last half of his dial, he has exploit weakness. He is very straightforward. Very. high damage potential with Blaze Claw's Fangs, but that's about it. You can sort of say, the Flurry is nice too, and you can charge Blaze Flurry. That is awesome, but you're not guaranteed to hit those, crazy numbers, okay? His upward peak of damage per turn can be 12. Just can be. Not saying it will be, just saying it can be. Okay? So that's Shatterstar. Alright. His keywords are Future, Mojoverse, New Mutants, Warrior, X Factor, X Force. Okay. Now, if we sort of, scroll on down and we look at Miss Fuzzy Boots herself, Spiral, she has 4 upfront clicks of phasing, then 4 clicks of charge. Then she has 4 upfront clicks of pulse wave, followed by 4 clicks of Blaze, Claws, Fangs, and Flurry, and she can reroll one of her blades. Then she has first half of her dial energy shield deflection, second half of her dial combat reflexes, first half of her dial probability control, second half of her dial shape change. The damage numbers are 3 up front and 2 in the back, and her defense values go 17, 17, 16, 16, 17, 16, 16, 15. So overall, she's not that bad, and coming at 106 points is really cool. Her special power again is on the second half of her dial. She has Dimensional Portal. Give Spiral a double power action, remove all gateway markers from the map, and place 2 gateway markers on the map. Place 1 if any adjacent square, place 1 in any adjacent square, and the other may be placed in any square on the map. Friendly characters may treat squares with gateway markers as adjacent to each other for movement purposes. I'm glad that you can't just like smack people through the portals, because that would cause different issues. Alright, so these are the 2 characters that we're going to spend our next bit of time really focusing on and really look at what they do to the meta. I know I said like, wow, Shi'ar, it's the Brokens, look, fly up, have a bazillion to team roll, all that. And technically Shi'ar really just does all this better. From everything that I looked at, Shi'ar just does this all better. But when you're dealing with games where team bases are banned, then the Shi'ar Imperial Guard can't show up. So you got to start doing something else. Okay, so let's get crack-a-lacking and percolating like coffee. All right, where I'm going to start the breakdown is with Shatterstar, and here's my analysis on Shatterstar. Shatterstar, our biggest hurdle of overcoming him is looking at Shatterstar Singular. Shatterstar Singular. Shatterstar Singular is a bad deal for everyone, because that means that you're only transporting one character. Okay, you're only placing one character. Alright. The next thing that we have to remember with Shatterstar is whoever you carry can attack that turn. Okay, if you have the actions. Now, this is the weird thing. Now, you're in a 300-point game without leadership, dump-a-dump-a-dum. You do 2 teleports in, you're only going to get 1 attack. Okay? You're only going to get 1 attack. Now, with that being said, with some of the builds that I'm going to offer you, you only really need 1 attack because you're going to have other elements in there. But you start to come to realize that first of all, as long as something's cheaper, you can bring it. As long as something's cheaper than Shatterstar, you can bring it with you. The next thing I would say is don't just rush down and be like, all my portals are open. Bring forth the apocalypse, my horsemen. You can't have that mindset, because if you do, your opponent's going to look at you and then punk you next turn. Okay? So if your opponent doesn't have crazy cross the board getting you goodness, just wait for a few characters to get some tokens and then, bamf on top of them. Last but not least is wherever you do, you have a choice of pushing Shatterstar after he does his grand teleportation exercise. And in my opinion, I am mixed at this stage about is that a good thing or is that a bad thing. And here's why. Yes, your first click and your second click are exactly the same. But it's the fact that you only get those 2 clicks of an 11. And from then on out, you're playing the please don't hit me game. Please don't hit me so I can stay awesome. Please. No, don't take away my Blaze Claws Flurry. Oh shoot, I killed you. And that got away that killed the character blocking, the super ranged attacker that can now one-shot me. Oh, please don't shoot me, please. So it's a risk on how you want to play that out. You can in some of the builds do the whole, hey man, look, I got a utility belt. But at the same time, I always feel like whoever you're bringing in, it's better for them to have the utility belt. So let's get into it. All right. The first team that I have listed here is 2 Shatterstars, Nitro, GCPD Cruiser, GCPD Officer, full utility belt on Nitro. Now, first off, you're like, what Dark Logos? You and that stuff have a love affair. Why am I bringing Nitro? Okay. And second of all, why does Nitro have the utility belt? Okay, now, in all fairness, because of Nitro's cheap point value, we are actually able to fit the utility belt on here. And I could just put a 10-point belt, and I could put, the GCPD ATA on there, and we can fiddle with some things. It's not set in stone. Okay? But here's the big thing that I want you to see. By typing in Nitro into your unit section of choice, okay? Just type in Nitro. You're hearing me clicking. I'm typing in Nitro. I'm following my own instructions. Okay? You're going to see several interesting things. Why a utility belt is good, but also doesn't really matter. Okay? And before you get into, isn't that wasted points? Not exactly. So bear with me. First off, you can say, oh, look at all the utility belt silliness we can do. And I'm not even going to cover that. You can go and find your utility belt silliness to do with Nitro. But the biggest thing that we're just looking for is something to raise our stats. To raise that attack to an 11. That's it. Just raise our attack to an 11. Well, why are we trying to raise our attack to an 11? Simple. His first special power. Explode and reform. Give Nitro a double power action. And make a close combat attack targeting each opposing character within 2 squares. Each character hit is dealt penetrating damage equal to 3 minus the number of squares it is from Nitro. Penetrating damage. They can still evade it if they have super senses or something like that. But I get to do a close combat attack that's pretty much equivalent to Pulse Wave. Now for those people that have played Chase Thanos, Nitro is nothing new to your kill box. But again, what does Chase Thanos do? Chase Thanos brings the 2 strongest characters to him. What does Shatterstar do? Shatterstar brings his 2 strongest friends to his opponent. Boom! Nitro blows up. If my opponent doesn't think, Nitro has an AoE power, I better spread my characters out. Oh well, I blew up my opponents. And in that second turn, boom, fly up there, explosion fist everywhere. Okay? Now you're like, Dark Logos, what good is that utility belt? Well, first off, my good friends, if we have a full utility belt, we can be like no mystics for you, guy over there, or no defenders for you, guy right there, who I really need to punch for 3 damage. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is, hey man, I got a 10 attack in the world where 20D is average. I need something. I need a +1 attack. All right. Not only that, if I roll and I get on, some magical cool stats or stuff, then I can use that. Okay, that's just plain and simple. I can use it. All right. So you gotta think of it like that. Now, when he explodes, it stops me from going on to explosive punch. Okay. So guess what that means? The next turn, if my opponent doesn't kill me, or does an even amount of damage to put me on click 5 or 3, guess what I'm going to do? Explosion punch. Thank you. Have a nice day. Would you like a mint with that? Because I just busted your teeth out with that 3 penetrating damage. Okay? So that's how you have to look at it. Is that you're just blowing up all this penetrating damage all around your opponent. That's why Nitro fits with Shatterstar. Shatterstar hasn't even had a chance to even think about doing something yet. Shatterstar's like, man, opening that portal is hard. Good thing I'm here for the fireworks. And then, he's like, man, maybe next turn I'll do something. Ah, dang it, they took 3 to the face. I think I might just clear. Okay, so let's even say my opponent kills Nitro. 41 points, has done 7 to 12 damage or something. Okay, so that just jacks things up. And then if your opponent had a formation team, they can't run the formation with Nitro around. They just can't. Okay, now let's go to the next element, the cop car. And I know some of you are like, well, Dark Logos, the cop car is now right up in the midst, all up on them. Like what good is that going to do me? Well, first off, the cop car gives us the one grand luxury of something more scarier than Nitro is in front of them. Okay? Your opponent is going to look at the cop car like I like to use shock troopers. Remember what I said about shock troopers? Shock troopers' main goal is to do nothing but scare the heck out of your opponent and make them waste all their energy on beating them up. That's it. And if they kill something, fine. But if they absorb 23,000 damage, that's even better, because the rest of your team gets to have their way with everything on your opponent's force. Okay? The other great thing about the cop car is that one continual damage, but you can always place a character that's convenient to the Shatterstars in the Nitro. Oh, did so-and-so try to run away from Nitro? Nope, it's like Scorpion. Get over here! Like that's all you were saying. Oh, you tried to run away? Get over here! Nitro, blow him up. Bam! Try to run again. Get over here! It's that broken. Okay? It really is. Now, what's the disadvantage of this team? Well, first of all, you don't have theme to crap, okay? Which is one of the quintessential things that you need in the game now. The second thing is you have no defense to getting shot in the face turn 2. Just don't. And I would say you can try to block with the cop car, but that's really about it. I mean, you can move the cop car up and then move the cop inside the cop car and have it block all your other 3 guys. I mean, that is as much defense as you get. Okay? There's no healing. There's no magic fun time that gets to happen. It's just you drop on top of your opponent and you hope against a team base or anything else that cop car can lock them up long enough for Nitro to go off and blow them up, and at least you to get possibly 2 good Blaze Claws, Fangs, Flurry Rolls with your 2 other Shatterstars. That's it. That's it. That is your grand hope. That cop car becomes your Obi-Wan Kenobi, and unknowingly Luke gets inside the car. That's pretty much it. You know, you're trying to get off Tatooine or whatever. Okay, so that's team number 1. Now again, is this my best work? Probably not. Not even close. Is this going to get over a lot of people? Oh, hell yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, it's just going to get up over a lot of people. Because they're not going to see how this works. And here's the best part. If you have followed this podcast, and you have made the investments that I have told you to invest in, you should have a cop car. Okay? You should have a cop car. When I told you their stock was low, you should have bought. Okay? So don't be like, Dark Logos, I don't have a cop car. And then I would ask you, did you play during Batman? Yeah, I played during Batman, Dark Logos. Were you listening to the show during Batman? Yeah, I was listening to the show. Did you go and spend all your money getting that freaking black bat plane in the bat car? Yeah, I did, Dark Logos. Well, I'm sorry. I can't feel for you. I told you the plague was coming. I told you the locust was coming. I told you the city was going to be destroyed. Didn't want to listen to me. Now we're out. Okay? We took the cop cars and left Egypt. All right? Now you're stuck with the remnants. All right? So you need to go on eBay, pay your $30 to $50, however much it costs now, and get your cop car. All right? Now we're going to move on to Team 2. Now Team 2 with Shatterstar is I like to call it a hybrid theme team. It's a theme team, Warrior, but it's not a massive theme team that runs the meta like the Incredible Hulk. Okay, so the main goal with this team is to provide you a transitional offense, and I mean it like this. Phase 1, you're going to do X. Phase 2, you're going to do Y. Okay? So, let's get into it. You have 2 Shatterstars, Cersei. Cersei has a utility belt, Corvus, and a Warbot. And that's $298. Now, and it's the Warbot with the flamethrower, because he has ranged combat expert. Now, some of you might be saying, okay, what's the Warbot there for? The Warbot's job, in all honesty, is to make his way slowly up the battlefield, and hopefully by mid to late game, he's there to start slinging around range combat expert. That is it. That's the end of the genius right there. It's the Warbot is there for late game, running shot for 1 damage, and RCE for 5 at 5 range. I mean for 3 at 5 range. That's it. No secrets. Okay. Now why does that matter? Okay, well, first off, Cersei is sort of wonderful. Not sort of, she is wonderful. And I think she is probably one of the most slept on characters in this set. And I even think I was sleeping on her a little bit. Running shot, psychic blast, 3 damage enhancement. And you might say, but Dark Logos, we're running this melee game. Why do I need enhancement? Well, for the pure fact, Corvus has range. I didn't notice that until I actually took a step back. And where is my Corvus? He's up here somewhere by my Shadow King. I saw him with his little crazy sword here earlier. This is bad. You get to the point where it's like, yeah, I could look online, but I know I have that character somewhere in this pile of clicks that I have around here. It's like, yeah, I could just scroll down and look, but instead I go look at the drawer. I mean, the ledge. But anyway, Corvus has a 4 range. Now, why is this issue? Well, Corvus doesn't get charged until clicks 3, 4, and 5, which means that, and I know when I say this, a lot of people might not get why I'm saying this, is that if you blaze Claw's fangs and kill something, and you want to push Corvus to do something else, you have two options. Either A, shoot for 2 damage, or B, fly up and base your opponent, take your push, and then sit there. I'd rather shoot. So the enhancement allows his piddly damage of 2 to turn up to a 3, and if he's on a 1, he can do it 2. Okay, it also sort of helps the Warbot if it's able to get into the fray. Okay, the other thing that Cersei helps us with is that just in case we have the PD ability to help out. Now, Cersei's trait is very awesome because at the beginning of my turn, I can always choose one. And one is Blaze Claw's Fangs, Empower, or Energy Shield Deflection. Cersei can use the chosen power until she chooses again. So I can be like, hey man, Empower, punch these dudes harder. Hey, we got enhancement too. Shoot these dudes harder. Yeah, Blaze Claw's Fangs, because I can't use Psychic Blast. It's not worth it anymore. Okay, so when you look at it like that, it's like, oh, Cersei, that makes sense. Okay, so Cersei comes into the fray. She offers us a lot. She's only 5 clicks deep. She can't really take a hit. We're really looking at Corvus and the Shatterstars to tie up stuff for Cersei so that we can keep her on her prime 11 attack and just slapping them down. Just boom, boom. One more time, boom, in the face with Psychic Blast. Okay? Now, for those who know me personally, I've been talking about Corvus a bit. Mainly with combining Corvus with Hope Summers. That Corvus makes Hope actually scary. Okay? So, when you look at Corvus, in this setup, the first thing that you're going to notice, what does Shatterstar solve for? Shatterstar solves for the fact that Corvus does not have charge. So you can place Corvus next to a guy that you really, really want dead. And guess what? Corvus will probably kill him dead. The other thing about Corvus that becomes a little bit frustrating is if you hit first with Blaze Claw's Fangs once, then you're doing 5, and that's awesome. Then the second time is 4. Then the third time is 3. Now you can say, "Hey, Dark Logos, I've dealt out a good amount of damage. I've dealt out 12 damage. Okay, that's great. All right, yeah, you dealt out 12 damage, but how much of that was reduced? What, 4? 6? Okay, then all of a sudden that amount of damage doesn't seem that awesome, does it? Yeah. Okay, so here's where it comes in, is that Corvus might, quote unquote, might want to turn into a ranged combat attacker with Cersei once you get to 3 damage on your blades. Now, if you get knocked to 1 damage, then yeah, go ahead, get another blades off and then try to reset it all back to 1. But that's the big thing with Corvus, is that there is this transitional game that you can have at one point in time. It's actually better for him to be a ranged attacker. Who would have thunk it? Okay. Anyway, his first 2 clicks are damage reduction, and if you have to be careful where you place him. So I wouldn't place him by anybody that's going to get exploit. I would place him by people that have like Side Blast or Energy Shield Deflection, so you pretty much guaranteed to hit them for a pure 5. Okay, and so that's the big advantage that Corvus brings. It's just, oh, I need to cripple or kill something. 5, push, 4, you should be dead. There is very little in modern age that's not a team base or vehicle that can take 9 damage. Okay? Again, if you hit them and they don't have damage reduction. If they have damage reduction, it's a different thing. Alright, so that's team 2. And again, you might say, hey, Dark Logos, you sort of glossed over the whole utility belt thing. Really, it's pure and simple. You never prep time. Never. No point. You're like, but I can get outwit. I can get, flurry and blades. Yeah, you can get all that dumb stuff, but you don't need it. Your main goal is to rush those fools down. So if you come out with a 12 attack and 4 damage, Psychic Blast, something's dead. Okay, that next turn, something's dead. Because if Corvus is hit for 5, and you're all up there and you're negating team abilities and stuff, something's dead. Okay, so you should be, picking like energy shield or combat reflexes or something like that. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, energy shield. So your cap defenses to everything. So if they have to hit a 20, they're not going to go after that. They're going to go after everything else. And then you can go blades or whatever your heart's desire. But really, when you look at it, Corvus and Cersei. Also, I just thought this also allows you to do the one last thing is that if you need to, they start running really far, you can use them as taxis for the Shatterstars. That's it. Okay, so let's move to really the final breakdown. The final breakdown is you have a decent team that is able to get +4 to map roll in fight and deal with the spatial differences. And there goes my phone. You would think, like, as long as I've done this show, that the first thing that I would do is turn off my phone. Like, you would think, like, oh yeah, he's recording. I'm gonna record. I better be professional. Nah, forget that. This is Starting Over podcast. There's no outtakes either. This isn't the live version. This is how honest I am with you, the viewer, the listener, the podcast enthusiast. Okay, moving on. We're going to move to Spiral. And the reason we're going to move into Spiral and not look at more Shatterstar stuff is this. Shatterstar's biggest disadvantage is that for his keywords that he has, in modern age, there are not too many figures that are less than he is. I mean, you can go and like Lord of the Rings it up and all this other stuff with him, but really you can't get a lot of cool stuff with him. So I've sort of resigned to say, all right, we'll see how things go. You are stuck making your own hodgepodge teams, but you're dealing with the same problem of David Kane. David Kane is awesome. Multiple David Kanes is awesome. Who are you pairing with David Kane is the issue. And there are some characters that are really great as a support or really great as like a background dancer attacker. Like one great example is Marvel 10 Storm. Okay, that, oh my gosh, 59 points and you just plop her anywhere and you have stealth, ranged combat expert, and she just starts off awesome. I mean, like literally, like she starts off awesome. How do you respond to that? You could do double storm drop off, but here's the thing, you won't get theme, which it sucks for me to say, like, you need theme for some of this stuff to be more, to have more consistency. Okay, but yeah, definitely Shatterstar with Storm. That is sick. It is so sick. Please do it for me and tell me how it goes. So that's why we're going into Spiral, and I'm going to give you my little brief breakdown with Spiral. My first initial reaction to Spiral was, the sky is falling, the skies is falling, 300 points, the skies is falling. And I'm not gonna lie, that's where I'm at. Where I've sort of come back to, and I've gotten challenged a little bit, is if at 300 points she is so scary, what else is she going against? A. And then B, how is she competing against what she's going against? And you start talking about team bases, and you start talking about plus to map, then you start to see, crap, she doesn't really stack up as well as I thought she did in the breakdown. And here's some things, just me being transparent, okay? First off, I've thought about every little exploit that I can possibly do with a non-theme team, and it still comes down to the same problems that the Shatterstar tech came to, is that if you operate in a non-theme team, that theme team will make it their point to come down, kill you, or kill your Spiral, or kill whatever your damage is of that team, and either A, be back on the other side of the map and laugh at you and tell you, come get me, or B, they're in your face, so the whole purpose of Spiral gap closing is completely moot. Like, if you think about it, it's that same analysis that I gave with Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler shrinks the map. If you advance further, and I'm talking about Web of Spider-Man Nightcrawler, not new Nightcrawlers, but if you advance, the advantage of Nightcrawler decreases, and for every bit of gap you close, the more overcosted Nightcrawler becomes, because he is unable to gap close. Because his damage was pathetic. Still is pathetic. Doing 2 damage is not that great amount of damage. Okay? And so when we look at Spiral in the same way, if you are able to gap close, your opponent being able to run away is gone. Your opponent even thinking about running to you is not really there. And here's where I'm going at, is this. If you are able to get all the way to the other end of the map and attack your opponent, why is your opponent going to do a double power action? They're not. And with Spiral's limited range, what is she going to do? Not shoot you. I can tell you that. Okay? And she's not going to pulse wave, because she's going to be all around her friends. And guess what? What is a Spiral team most likely not going to pack? I'll give you a few seconds if you need to pause it. If you need more time, that's fine. But I just want you to give a guess. Just take a guess. What is a Spiral team not packing? TK. A Spiral team packing TK is completely useless. It doesn't make sense for several reasons. First off, Spiral operates in the same fashion of TK. Is to get characters from point A to point B, without them taking an action in and of themselves to get from point A to point B. The next thing is to move massive amounts of distances, and with TK. And last but not least, if you TK Spiral to go do something, it's to attack, and that means that you're not doing portals. Think about it. If I TK Spiral, I am not using portals because I'm attacking. If I'm using portals, I'm not attacking. Okay? And the biggest thing I think with TK that is also an issue is that once you TK them, let's say you TK them to the portal, the TK doesn't affect it so that you can keep TKing them on the other side of the portal. It just doesn't. Okay, you have to have line of unless it would be sort of dumb if you open up the portal 8 squares away, so that they could, like maybe sidestep back through the portal. Like, I mean, like that's the only thing I can think of. And even then, you're talking about like you're planning to do like a mid-field fight or something. Like that's it, and that's a lot of energy to put into. Oh, I have Spiral and I have TK, and then he sidesteps up. Like, dang it, it's just cheaper to have dual TK. Okay, so the Spiral team will never have TK. Ever, ever, ever. Ever, 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 ever. Okay? So because of that, we can sort of prey on that weakness. At 6 range, where is Spiral going? Nowhere. If she's carried, what is she going to be doing? She's going to be carried and has to sit there. That's it. She can't attack you. She'll have to clear if she done portals. If she didn't get portals, she got carried. Well, guess what? Guess what she's not doing? Pulse waving. So, really, all your opponent's really doing is bringing Spiral up to get the fire knocked out of her, so that then she can be scary. Like, once you don't really want to hit Spiral to get on clicks 5 and 6. You sort of want to like tap her and then knock her past clicks 5 and 6, because that's the scariest part of her whole dial. And you'd be like, well, Dark Logos, what about the pulse waves? The pulse waves are dumb. The pulse waves are not scary. Okay, what's scary is that charge, Blaze Claws, Fangs, and Flurry. Why is that? We can see that same combination in our Shatterstar team, and we multiply that by 2. How much, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is super awesome. And we look at it, with one character, it's like, oh yeah, that's still super awesome. Add in Shape Change, and she becomes a tough cookie to hit. So, let's look at these Spiral teams, and I had some eye openers. And the Spiral team that I made was designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that was to exploit the heck out of distance. That's it. And to guarantee that I can go first as best I can. So the team is Spiral, 2 Astral Stranges, Dove, not from the Gravity feed. Not from the Fast Forces, but from the main Streets of Gotham set. Scarlet Witch, smoke them if you got them. The Bat Signal, Madam Web, and Pseudosaurus. Now, if you don't have Scarlet Witch, then feel free to replace Scarlet Witch with Enchantress. Does the exact same thing. Well, not exact same thing, but it's something close. All right, so pretty much your main hope is that you can get Madam Web on Outwit or Perplex. That's all you're really hoping for. Scarlet Witch is going to perplex up the attack value of Dove. Then you're going to perplex up the attack value or the damage value. Your choice. If you want to run the Enchantress, then the whole advantage is you get to TK the Dove on top of the Pseudosaurus so that she can get super strength. But if you don't want to do that, you can feel free to replace the Pseudosaurus with like a Pog person. That's fine as well, so that they can utilize the Bat Signal. But it goes pretty much like this: perplex ups, do all your craziness, and then open up your portal. Dove comes charging through, and she is going to hit a target for their damage, raw, just their damage plus 1 if we perplex damage. Okay, so once that goes through, it's like, oh, I lit that fool up. Now people would say, well, that's a kamikaze mission. Yes, it is. That's why we also have Astral Stranges. The Astral Stranges feel a simple role. Is that they move for free. And they also pad our plus to map roll. But the biggest thing with the Stranges is they have, what's that trait? Intangible and invisible Astral Doctor Strange does not require opponents to break away. Does not block line of fire. Cannot have damage transferred to by Mastermind or be targeted perplex. And may be given a move action as a free action once during your turn. So they can move 7 squares and be like, hey man, we didn't do anything. And activate this magical portal to summon back Dove. Yeah, buddy. And boom, scene. That's pretty much it. And then if you place the bat signal in the proper place, you can actually have Dove charge back through the portal and hit who she wants to hit the next turn. I mean, that's pretty much all that you do. And you can alternate summoning through the freaking portal. Summoning with the 2 different Stranges. That's pretty much point blank, really simple. Now, some of you are like, how are you going to beat Ghost Rider? Luck. How are you going to break Shi'ar? Luck. Shi'ar has freaking 5 damage on one of their clicks. I'm like, shoot, I smacked them for 5 real good with exploit weakness and 11 attack. They might think twice about coming to me. Hey, is this perfect? No, it's not. And I mean, if push came to shove, if Madam Web didn't land on perplex, I can move her on the other end of the map if she's on prob. I can move her in the other end of the map and just sacrifice her. If I know for sure I'm going to make more than 24 points, then I'm looking at Madam Web something real quick. What is her? Heed my words. Before a friendly character within 4 squares in line of fire makes an attack roll, you may choose a number from 2 to 5. If the chosen number comes up on either die, increase the attack total by 1. If it comes up on both dice, increase the attack total by 3. So, you pick 2. Mom's your uncle. So like that. I mean, you got options. I mean, that's how I look at it. Is it Mom's your uncle or Bob's your uncle? I don't even know. Just rambling a little bit. But yeah, Suit of Sorrows is just mainly there so you can add some additional damage. It's not necessarily required. But let's see. With this team, it's 3, 4, 5, 6. So plus 6 to map. It's not bad. But with this team, map is sort of irrelevant. There are some maps like Realm of Death, which this team would be freaking annoying on. So annoying. Because your opponent would have to like navigate through it, and then you're just constantly sending Dove out and then bringing her back, and then sending her out and bringing her back. Also, this is like an all-female team, so there it is. Anyway, I had some other teams with Spiral, and they mainly experimented with split lip and dropping hammers and stuff like that, but it again, it's the same problem of what happens when I break theme. Now, some people might say, well, hey, Dark Logos, Spiral has some other keywords besides mystical. Have you really looked at those and tried to exploit, those keywords? In modern age, again, we have some tough problems. I'm saying this at 300. Is Brotherhood of Mutants, we're getting like 3 characters. Okay. Freedom Force, not happening. Mojoverse, definitely not happening with that. Mystical is your best choice. Robot, you get some nice things. Okay, I'm going to be honest. But you're looking at your Iron Man drones being the equivalent of your filler, and that is pretty expensive. Okay, that's a problem. Alright, now there are some standouts that are like, oh man, that's sort of awesome. I didn't think about you. Like Vision. Vision from Chaos War, number 13. If you look at him, for him to charge, he has charge and stealth. He may use charge normally, or be given a double power action to use charge and ignore characters and terrain for movement purposes. Which is sort of dumb, but okay. The main thing is he can use charge. So he can charge, and we give him Suit of Sorrows. He has super strength. So now he has super strength and Battle Fury and charge, picking up heavies and with an 11 attack and 4 damage and just smacking people real good. That's cool, but again, what are you going to pad out? And that's really like your only attacker. And that means you can't do the utility belt yo-yo silliness. There's also Ultron, but you're not going to fill in anything else other than a robot, the drone, and then like, oh look, I got a utility belt, same, or oh look, I use bat signal, like it's the, I hate to say it, it's like exact same thing. It's like you use the utility belt or you use the bat signal. There really isn't this, oh look, I do the robot thing and then I'm able to do blah 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 blah. It's no, not really. Even with the ATA, it's still not, it's not worth it. And what makes it sort of suck is that if you can say like, oh look, Indigo, you can be guaranteed to do blah 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 and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, man, if you're gonna go and do Indigo, you're already locked into, oh look, I am doing the lockdown of the handcuff tech, and even then the other lockdown handcuff tech is a little bit better. It's just there's too much that's lacking. The best I could say is, hey, maybe, just maybe, you can like rematch. No, he's too expensive. Eradicator? Like yeah, I mean, it's just everything's too expensive. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the problem. It's just everything's too expensive. So, I mean, overall, I mean, you could say like, oh look, X-Force, and X-Force can be completely fun, and I am not doubting that you could probably, let me see, how many multiple mans? Well, how many multiple mans can we spam? I know they have, what the heck? Oh no, that's X Factor. No, so never mind. Sorry, multiple man does not belong to that team. But yeah, when you're looking at X-Force, even what's your cheapest people? Like Richter? Yeah, Richter. And let's see, how much is Mirage? Mirage is 75. Cannonball's 92. Cannonball's overcosted so much. Wolfsbane is 63, and you have to push her. So you're looking at what? 3 dead turns before she's useful? Like, that's bad. That's real bad. So, I mean, overall, I hate to say it, Spiral is pigeonholed into mystical. Now, in the future, can Mystical get better? Is there a better attacker than Dove? Yeah, you can go into using the Blue Beetle and all this other stuff that I just didn't touch because I just said to myself, let me try to be as cost efficient as possible. But you're still running under the 2 basic principles of either A, I'm all-inning you, or B, I am going in and pulling myself back. Those are the only 2 viable things to do with Spiral. And it also doesn't negate the fact that if your opponent has a Spiral team, they're just going to be like, oh, you didn't kill us, fool, nor could you kill our Spiral. We're coming for you. And they don't have to double power action. I mean, if you really read the power, it just says characters friendly to Spiral. That's it. They can go through your gateway. So they'll just pop through and they'll just pop through and then come get you. So, I mean, it's stuff to think about. So anyway, it to me, it seems that if we're going to say limited to 300, that unless something that comes down the pipe that is really awesome and mystical, and you're gonna be like Ghost Rider and something more than Ghost Rider, because even people that are being honest about the Ghost Rider tech is saying this: there are better Ghost Rider teams than Ghost Rider and Spiral, and your Ghost Rider team has the ability of getting downfield better without Spiral, with better backup and better support and better everything. Okay, so there's a problem. There's a problem. Ghost Rider is not the answer with Spiral. Now the answer may be coming, but I don't know. There's no way for me to know. And you might be all saying like, well, you know, dark logos, double cop car, portals, blah blah blah. I talked about it earlier. I'm like, well, yeah, that's still on the table, but we have. You can't use the ATAs, but you could just do 2 cop cars and Spiral, and then going through and then coming back and then going through and coming back. But that's about it. Again, if they have a Spiral, it solves nothing. Now, actually, I take that back. It solves one thing. Only one person, one of their people can go through. Only one of their figures can go through, because the cop cars, if they have cuff to the bumper going, will stop anything else coming through that portal once they become adjacent. Okay? So that is the only advantage that double cop car might have. But you are still looking at the fact that whatever comes through that portal, the first thing they're going to smack is Spiral, because the token has to be adjacent to Spiral. Now some people, well, now I take that back. You could, if you were using the cop car, you could carry Spiral and put her back in, you know, 1 square away, so she couldn't be smacked. So that's another valid option as well. It's amazing the things you think of while you're talking and say things out loud. Anyway, that's my analysis. I did not think I would come to the conclusion I came to. But I hope this shows that I'm not above being proved wrong. And I hope that this shows that I am willing to even go against my own previous analysis and say, hey, you know what? I've reassessed some things, and now I find my Corvus. That's hilarious. Sorry. Anyway, but I hope it shows that I'm honest, and that I don't have a problem being wrong, and pride doesn't get in the way of us becoming better heroclix players. All right. So that wraps things up. I was going to do some additional stuff, but looking at the time, that would make this go a little bit longer than planned. So you can follow me on Twitter at StartoverPod. It came from outer space. High five Galactus on its way here to come warn us that I was on Twitter. You can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. That's startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it pithy, keep it interesting. Tell me how your games are going. What do you think about AVX? Is this a money grab by WizKids? Is this fun? Is this the best thing since sliced bread? What's up? What's your thoughts on the AVX thing? Also, is this going to help your venues or venues or hurt them? What's your thoughts? Hit me up, because I'm thinking about doing either a blog post or an episode about money and HeroClix, and specifically talking about AVX. So let me know. The blog, startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. I have post up every Monday, Wednesday, and weekend. Got to get on that weekend. Still working on it. Trying to be a better blogger. You can hear some of my more personal thoughts, some of my ideas about the game, some of my feelings. If I see a preview that's a little bit more interesting, I'll talk about it there than more so on the podcast, so it doesn't derail the podcast. Also, if you'd like to donate to the show, I got a PayPal donate button on the blog, and you'll get a shout out if you donate. And if you don't want a shout out, that's fine. Just let me know, and I will not shout you out. But everything goes towards the show, making it better, and HCO codes and other things along that nature, and giveaways. And unfortunately, no one got the Kurth. Couldn't get the hits up. So, sorry. Anyway, that's mostly it. There are some things that I'm trying to get prepared for with the show. Hopefully I can get in touch with the Dial H for Hero. And I'm going to talk about them real briefly. I ended up being bored one day, and I went and I saw that these cats had subscribed to me on Twitter. So I was like, okay, let me go check out their show. I would say that if you're looking for another tactical heroclix podcast, go listen to Dial H for Hero. They have a bit of what I have here in Starting Over with the buddy goodness that you find in Push to Regen. And so there's like 4 or 5 of those guys, and they'll talk about clicks and comics and other stuff, and meta. And so their show's like 2 hours. Mine's an hour. But I do like a ton of content for y'all. But if you're ever looking for I will respectfully say a second opinion on the meta, definitely check out Dial H for HeroClix. And hopefully I'll be on their show, or they'll come on here, or I can get one of those guys together, and some sort of internet techno magic, we can get this done. I've been trying to get Push to Regen for the longest time. They don't call me no more. Joking. Anyway, but that's it. All right, thank you for listening, and remember, we all have to start over sometime.
I'm into comic books, figures on the wall. She's into looking good, Vicky C's got along, and she loves my flaws. Yeah, she's not ashamed. I'm a Peter Parker, she's my Mary Jane. 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 I'm a Peter Parker. She's my Mary Jane. I'm a big nerd around her, but she's cool around me. Never knew how she found me. Electric, but she grounds me. And she loves my flaws, she accepts them all. When the darkness comes, I will get the call. I will swing down to save her.